Remember, before any wall gets worked on, you'd better get a Zircon.
Zinna!
All right. Any of you suckholes want to come up here and knock me off? Oh, shit.
I think that I am familiar with the fact that you are going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you on the ass.
I know you deceived me, now here's a surprise.
You're gonna eat lightning, and you're gonna drop thunder.
I know that you have, cause there's magic in my eyes.
Alright, I'm Zinna, this is Zinna, you can call me Zinna. It's the world according to Zinna. Zinna! On the WKRP radio network. You know, sometimes you tune in to, like MSNBC or CNN, or you don't get this kind of treatment on Fox. That's for damn sure. I don't think they've got the assets or the pull overseas. But on the Zinna show, on the world according to Zinna, we have pull. We've got swing. We've got yank. We've got clout. Actually, I do a lot of drinking, and I meet a lot of cool people. And if you listen to the show, you've heard me say this a bajillion frickin' times. Some of the most interesting and coolest and smartest and wise people you're ever going to meet, you meet them at the bar. I've always said if I could do it, if I could pull it off, I would do a show at the bar. I would do a radio show every day at the bar, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm thinking maybe once a week. Maybe once a week we could do a live gig from the bar, because you meet the coolest people at the bar. And here's a perfect case in point. What's the big story over the past week or so? Other than the Wisconsin thing, which seems to be getting worse by the minute. Today, and I've been teasing this all week because I've been looking for this guy. I've been looking for my next guest. We're going to bring him in after the break. But I've been looking for this guy for about a week. He's a buddy of mine who I met at the bar a couple of years ago in a drunken haze, because that's what I do when you're under in the pressure cooker, under the enormous stress and pressure of doing a radio show and a TV show, and you got to go to the bar and you drink. That's what we do. That's why so many people in radio are raging alcoholics. That's why so many people in the media are drunk off their ass. See Charlie Sheen, see Casper. All of us are half smashed at the end of the day. We have to be. But seriously, I like to have a cocktail now and then, and I met our next guest at the bar a couple of years ago, and he is freaking fascinating. I mean, he's one of those guys that it's almost like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You meet a guy and you go, that guy knows a lot about a lot. His name is Patrick Rooney. He's a retired oil executive. And as I've been teasing for the past week or so, he used to live in Libya. He has met Muammar Gaddafi. He lived next door to Muammar Gaddafi. I met this guy at the frickin' bar. I am not kidding. This guy knows more about Middle Eastern affairs and Middle Eastern politics than just about anybody you're ever going to meet, and probably just about anybody you'll ever see as a talking head on TV. I've been looking for him for a week because when all this Libya thing exploded, actually when the Egyptian thing took off, I started thinking about Patrick. And, we're always talking about the dominoes of democracy potentially falling in the Middle East. Of course, if you've been listening to the show, I coined the phrase, Casper, what phrase did I coin? Dominoes
of democracy.
Thank you, Casper. Thank you. I coined the phrase, see, Casper verified it. I coined the phrase dominoes of democracy.
And my word is rock.
The rock. So I wasn't sure if Libya would go down, even though Libya is right next to Egypt. I wasn't sure that Libya would go down because, I don't know, man, Gaddafi seemed to have a stranglehold on everybody. Everybody seemed to be afraid of him. So I wasn't sure that I would need Patrick to come on, although I thought about tracking down Patrick and bringing him on the show just to the extent we could talk about Egypt. But then things started to go sideways in Libya. Crazy reports everywhere. His son, Gaddafi's son, is threatening. There will be rivers of blood if you don't get in line and behave yourself. And then when things started to get testy in Libya, I said to Matt and I said to AJ, I said, here's Patrick's card. Go find Patrick. I know this guy. I know him. The guy's freaking brilliant. Go find this guy. And they were calling around. They were trying to find him. They couldn't find him. Patrick had retired from the company, the oil company he was working for. I hadn't seen him in a couple of months. I usually bump into him a lot at the bar because we frequent the same pub. We live in the same neighborhood. And I couldn't find him. I'm going in the bar every freaking night. Where's Patrick? Has anybody seen Patrick? Where's Patrick? They said, I haven't seen him in a week or so. Where is he? I said, well, here's my number. If you see him, give him my number. I need to talk to Patrick. And everybody's like, all right, Zinna, calm down. I'm in there every single night looking for Patrick. And my guys, AJ and Maddie, they couldn't find him. So we were kind of screwed. And yeah, if you've been listening to the show, you know that we were getting a little nervous. We couldn't find Patrick. And then finally, a couple of nights ago, I waltzed into the pub again, and there he was, sitting right there. Hey, Patrick, you got to come on the show. Patrick, you got to come on the show. Let me tell you what's going on. He's like, okay. See, Patrick is very, what's the term? Avuncular. Patrick is an avuncular gentleman. He's been around the block a couple of times. He's not easily rattled. He's seen a lot, knows a lot. He's just one of those guys where you meet him and you go, and I'm telling you something else too. Patrick's in his 60s, but he still pulls chicks. It's amazing. Girls love Patrick at the bar. He's one of those guys that girls just gravitate towards. He's got great stories and anecdotes. He's a cool guy and very, very smart. You're going to want to stay tuned for this. When we come back, we'll bring on Patrick Rooney. He's a certified expert in Middle Eastern affairs, and he knows Muammar Gaddafi. I'm Zinna, this is Zinna. You call me Zinna. It's the world according to Zinna on the WKRP Radio Network.
That's alright. Even like stick on a Saturday night.